Rest in peace, buddy. Okay, today we're gonna make a Halloween coffin out of one single piece of plywood. What do you think? He's speechless. Let's get started. Here's what the coffin looks like. We're making it on one single piece of plywood, and this is drawn to scale. So this is 4 inches wide and 8 inches long, so it's a 4x8 piece of plywood. Our coffin's gonna be 6 feet high and 2 feet wide. So you can see where I've drawn it out here. And the top and bottom are gonna be angled. All right, now let's give it the person test. So it looks like I can fit. So we're good. All right. Now, all right, so looking at the plan again, got to come down 16 inches on each side. That's right there. And right there. And then at the top, that's going to be a foot wide right there. All right. So since this square is 2 feet wide, we're going to come in 6 inches on either side, which will leave a 1 foot section in the center. So right there, and right there. All right, so then we go from that corner to this corner. Just like that. And another one over here. Just like that. And then we'll go down to the bottom and we're going to do the same sort of measurement. We want the centerpiece on the bottom to also be a foot. So here's the bottom. This will also be a foot right there where your feet go in the coffin. So we're going to do the same sort of measurement. So on the very bottom, we're going to come in 6 inches on either side. Right there. And right here. All right. Now, let's measure the angled edges. We're going to have to sort of eyeball this, because my straight edge here is not long enough. Now let's see if it'll line up right. Yep, lines up just perfect. Okay, so first thing we got to do is set our depth on our saw. If you can see, my depth on my saw looks like it's about 1 inch, which is about right. But I'm going to show you how to set the depth on your saw anyhow. So you see this right here, this thing, hope you can get a good view of it. This will allow you to move that up, and then you can move the deck on the saw back and forth like that. So this board is 3/8 of an inch thick, so I'm going to set this to a 3/8 inch depth, which will be about right there. Let's see, right there. And then we'll lock it back down. So there's this, you have this thing right here. Push it back down. And my saw's sort of old, it's getting worn out. I've adjusted this thing so many times it won't hold in place, so that's why I use a hammer on it. When you're working with power tools, don't forget to protect your ears and your eyes, right? Always make sure your cable is out of the way. You don't want to saw into it. Also, when you're sawing, keep your work area clean, keep other tools out of the way. Make sure your power cord is out of the way. Okay, we've gotten our piece of board cut that has the bottom of the coffin in it. You can see the outlines. Now it's time to trim off the edges, so let's do that. And it's easier to start cutting from a flat surface or from a flat edge. Just simplifies what you're doing. Okay, so we have the bottom of our coffin. Looks pretty good. Now it's time to cut the sides, the side walls of the coffin. So we need to measure from the very end. We have to measure this diagonal piece. And that's 56.5 inches. All right, so what we have to do now is cut pieces to go right here. And these pieces are going to be 12 inches wide, just like this. And let's see how long they're going to be. And they're going to be 17.5 inches long. Let's double check this side. 17.5. All right. All right, so one of these is going to be that piece, and the other one is going to be that piece. All right, let's get it cut. If you're doing this, it's always a good idea to mark the line you want to cut on somehow. And the reason is, I made this line when I cut this entire piece of board in half. Don't get tired and get confused and cut the wrong line. So write an X through the one you don't want to cut. Write an O through the one that you do want to cut. One point I want to make here, if you get sweat in your eyes like I did, stop and wipe your eyes. Don't make a mistake and hurt yourself or mess up your wood just because you have sweat in your eye. Take your time and do it right. All right, so let's put this together. See how it looks. Hold that back down there. All right, we're going to use these scrap pieces. So if you do this on 2 different days, if you do part of it one day and part of it another day, remember to save your scrap pieces. You're going to need them. There you go. All right, so it needs a tiny bit of adjustment, which is no problem at all. Now, if you notice, if you're paying attention, you see how these overhang just a little bit? And that's fine, because once we fold these up, these will stick out past the end, and we'll cut another piece to fill in this gap on the end. So don't get too concerned about that. All right, so we're gonna take a short break to cool off, and I'll be right back. So we have to cut the end pieces, that end, and that end, and then put it all together. So I already know this distance is 1 foot because that's how I measured it. And the same with this distance, down here it's 1 foot. So I need 2 pieces that are each 1 foot square. So I got that piece of board and this piece of board. So let's get to it. Okay, we're back the next day, and you can see we have all the pieces cut out. I've got the top and the bottom and the 4 side pieces cut out. We're going to use these 1x1s to attach the sides to the bottom of the coffin, and we have enough 1x1s to go all the way around the outside of it. So here's how we're going to do this. I'm going to first screw the side onto the 1x1 and then screw it onto the bottom. I've done this before a couple of times, and I found that's the easiest way to do it. So let's do this side first so you can sort of see what I'm doing. All right, so the bar is connected, so now we'll put this on just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and put the put the 1x1s on all the outside pieces, and then we'll turn it over and get this put on the bottom. And I'll be right back. Okay, so you can see what we did here. I took the clamp and I clamped the boards together. So we're going to go down this side and we're just going to screw them all in. Alright, so there you go. One side on, so the other sides are going to go on just like that. Alright, so I'll put those on and we'll be right back. Alrighty, there it is. We got it mostly put together. Here's a couple of last things we got to deal with. We got to put these together, strengthen these. So let me show you how I deal with that. Usually, I've got some leftover scrap pieces that I'll take and put right there. I'll have to cut it to fit, but then you can put the screws in from the outside, take a grinder and grind off whatever part of the screw is sticking in there. And that works great. I've done this, I think this will be the 4th casket I've made, and that works really good. So I've also got to put my supports right here. So anyhow, I'm going to do that and then I'll show you the finished product. Okay, I want to show you a mistake that I commonly make. I've made it about 20 times and probably always will. I always forget to recess my boards or my supports just a little bit when I'm putting this together. The reason you do it is this edge is going to go up against this board, so you recess your support a little bit so this will fit flush in. See, just like this. So always remember to do that. All right, we have the entire coffin put together. And what I neglected to say earlier is this coffin's actually for a neighbor for their yard decoration. Usually I build one of these every year, use it for decoration. This year I decided to go in a different direction. I'm actually making a scarecrow, but the neighbor asked me if I'd make a coffin for them, and they're going to keep it for a few years. So I'm going to do something I don't normally do. We're actually going to glue it together. So what we're doing now is we're taking it all apart. We're putting wood glue on each of the support joints. We're using Elmer's glue, which does a really good job. So we're going to take it back apart one piece at a time and glue all the joints just like this, put it back together, and it should last the neighbor for a few years. If I were doing this for myself, I may not go to all the trouble, but like I said, I usually build one of these every year and give it away after Halloween. So I'm going to go to this extra step for them because I know they're going to use it for a while and I want it to last. So let's do that. Okay, the coffin's all finished. We took some of the panels off, and as you can see, we glued the joints. That'll make it last a lot longer. Some of the glue actually dripped down, you can see, but anyhow, the glue can be cleaned up. But that's what it looks like. The sides are always tough to put together. But anyhow, it came out pretty good. I'm pleased with it. Everything fit together just right. I'm going to measure it, and I'll put, if you want to build one, I'll put a list of the size pieces you need in the description of the video. Hey, look, before you spend 8 or 10 grand on a coffin, just, think about it, okay? That's all I'm saying.